Now an update on that major breaking news. We're following the sounds of possible gunfire ring out at former President Trump's rally just outside Pittsburgh. Watch and listen.
Take a look at what happened.
Shots still being fired even after he ducked down. This happened around 5:15 our time. He ducked down behind the podium for safety, and you could see just a half a dozen Secret Service members were there for him. Just moments later, he's raising his fist. You can clearly see that there is blood on his face. There was some type of injury to his right ear, but he seems to be helped by them, but standing on his own, and then they whisked him away.
No word on his condition. We are getting information and reports out there that President Biden has been briefed on what happened there at the rally. It is now a crime scene. They're trying to get to the bottom of what happened. Reports from people who were there as the Secret Service, not long after the president was whisked away, they gave the all clear, so presumably they found the suspect or suspects. Not clear if he was actually struck or grazed by a bullet or whatever it may have been. We're still awaiting word on how he's doing and exactly what happened, and we'll continue to monitor the situation and bring you an update throughout the evening.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that the people behind them didn't appear to suffer any type of injury. Now, that's just looking at it visually. We don't know for sure what type of gun it was or if it affected anybody else, but clearly it affected the former president.
And you've attended presidential rallies as have I, Jackie, and these are secure. You go through metal detectors. There's a thorough screening of who you are before you can even show up at one of these events. So the idea that someone had a weapon inside an event that had the former president, that is remarkable. That is almost unheard of. So we're awaiting an explanation from the Trump campaign and the United States Secret Service, which of course protects presumed presidential candidates. And also in this case, he's a former president, so he'll have Secret Service protection for the rest of his life. So this is just remarkable that this would happen. There has been, of course, in this country concern about political violence, but we've not seen an incident like this. This is truly historic, not recently at least.
And again, it's coming just a day before he was to go to Milwaukee, or all of the Republicans were to start heading to Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention. It's not unusual in these rallies to have protesters, anti-Trump protesters as well. So that's at just about every rally, though. And whether there is a connection between the anti-Trump protesters and what happened, we are looking forward to find out more information. But it appears that it was a slight injury. He walked in his own feet and headed to the car, raising his fist several times, I might add. So it appears he's okay.
And there's a tweet tonight from Anthony Guglielmi, who many in the audience may remember as the spokesperson for the Chicago Police Department. He's now spokesman for the United States Secret Service, and he posted on X, an incident occurred this evening, the evening of July 13th, at a Trump rally in Pennsylvania. The Secret Service has implemented protective measures, and the former president is safe. First word that we've heard, he's okay. Former president is safe, he says. This is now an active Secret Service investigation, and further information will be released when available. So the former president is safe. The U.S. Secret Service is investigating, and they've implemented protective measures. That word coming tonight from the United States Secret Service spokesperson. Still no word from the Trump campaign, but on X and the various social media platforms, you do see lots of people offering prayers for President Trump, for the other people there, lots of concern being expressed. But boy, does this change everything, as you said, Jackie, on the eve of the Republican National Convention, which is the Secret Service is working to protect that. And President Biden has been holding rallies. Kamala Harris was out today. There'll be a heightened sense of alert going forward at all political events through November due to this historic incident.